Hello, I'm Thomas and I'm an iOS developer, a programmer. I used to be a hobbyist, but still during studies, I transitioned to being a professional developer. But I didn't start with Objective-C. I've got some of my projects written in C++ because originally I was a C++ programmer. This was the first language I've learned, and I stuck to it for a good couple of years. So I've been doing, even before going to university, I've been doing some video games, and I've just found one of my earlier games. So it's called AquaRegis, and I just wanted to show it to you. So it has been developed in 2008 during the summer break. Actually, there was a competition on a Polish game programming website where a community gathered and just people showcased their projects. So they were doing something called, because the site is called Warsztat, and they were doing Warsztat Summer of Code. So the reference to Google Summer of Code is obvious, but the difference is that you were supposed to create a game in a 2 to 3 months period from scratch. So, well, some engines and graphics libraries were allowed, but basically you have to develop something cool during this period of time. So I was already into the idea of creating a game which would resemble Polish, a game popular in Poland, a game of lines. I will describe the it's in Java. I will describe the rules of the game later. You will see it. So basically, I had this idea in my mind, and I've done some research to search for similar titles which have been released, but it was a little bit strange to me that there are definitely not enough games which played with the original idea of the lines game. So I wanted to change that and just create something interesting. So this is a two-dimensional game, and first the decision I have to make was which library to use, which graphics library to use. And I actually ended up using Irrlicht. This is a 3D engine. So using a 3D engine to create a two-dimensional game might seem like not really an obvious choice, but I thought it will give me some additional head start if I wanted to create some interesting 3D particle effects or something. I didn't do that, but I still stuck with the original choice of Irrlicht Engine. So the game is running on Windows because I was using Microsoft Visual C++, and it's written in C++, as I said earlier. So yeah, we've got the first screen is even interactive, kind of high school joke, and the title AquaRegis. So this is the main screen. Well, at the time I thought that creating a main screen like that is a brilliant idea, but it's not really intuitive. So right now I would just completely redesign it. So this is a static image, which contains some 3D objects. It is actually a render of my scene, which I've done using Blender, because all the graphics I've done for this game, all the graphics are mine. Only the AquaRegis logo was created by a graphic artist, Rafał Drżałowski, who I've teamed up with to create the game, but eventually I didn't use any of his assets. He was very proficient in creating them, but it just took lots of time to develop, and I ended up not using his awesome graphics. And the original idea was to create a game in a little bit darker setting than most casual games, which I'm not sure it was a good choice, but As you can see, the main screen is not that bright, there are lots of shadows and stuff. So we've got different options. We can exit the game, obviously. We can see the credits, which is just a simple window. We can adjust settings, which just changes the music and sound volume. Right now, I think, well, yeah, the sound is turned off. We can go full screen if we want. So you don't hear the sound right now. I will plug the speakers later. We've got a trophy room because there was the idea of achievements which are called trophies in this game. So you can, well, you cannot see any of those trophies because my profile didn't gather any of them. So I've also created two-dimensional graphics for this game. So this is a completely custom window. All the graphics have been done by myself. So we have some glitches around the corners. Yeah, I'm not a graphic designer. I'm just a programmer. So, and the font is obviously not mine. But for example, a cursor is mine. Most of the assets. Alright, so we can change different players. There is support for different players, and this window is also custom. So I've created UI components using my graphics and it just mimics the standard windowing UI systems. I've also created a scroll bar using again my custom graphics. Actually, some of those interface elements, like this scroll bar, have been created in 3D and just rendered into two-dimensional. So let's just play with our selected profile, the default one, and start trial. It's a start trial because it was supposed to be developed into a full game, which didn't happen. After 3 months, I just dumped the project. Because yeah, I focused on other stuff. So we've got different game modes, but yeah, I think two first buttons just do nothing. No, sorry, first button works, second should not. Yep, and the third one, I don't remember. Oh, the third one allows you to select. So the first one won't work. Yep. So basically there is only one game mode, but it should actually be called a story mode because you, while you progress, you unlock further levels. So for example, yeah, this is a new profile, so I've got only 2 first levels unlocked, which happens just after installing the game. So in here we see a preview of the map of the game, of the selected level. So the original Lines game, it just uses 9x9 square board, and I'll just show it to you. So we've got some instructions at the beginning. So this is not really relevant right now. So you can see also that under a cursor there is a light following it, and we've got a map. We've got 3 different games in here. We've got a button which transfers us to menu. We've got a progress bar and some additional hints. We've got a high score label and current score. So if we click on the rules, we've got some more instructions, and it basically tells you what to do. So the goal of this game is to place the diamonds in a way that you have as many as possible in a single row. So you can click on a diamond and move it. So the arrow just follows the cursor and shows which tiles are available and which are not. And if you click somewhere, then the diamond travels to that required position. So for example, we would like to have at least 5 of violet games in this line. So after you place at least 5 items, they disappear and your score increases. So as you can see, when I moved my game in here, the numbers of games on the map increased. So 3 new diamonds appeared, and so that's why you have to be careful where to place the item, because every time you move one diamond, 3 new appear. So for example, if we have violet ones, we want to move them together so they disappear and clear some place on the map. We can also place them in a diagonal, so they would also disappear when we place at least 5 of them. And we also see that some of the fields are highlighted red, and that just means we can't go there. There is no way this diamond can travel in here because there is no route to this area. Alright, so let me show you how do they disappear. It will happen, yeah. There is a simple animation, and you can see that our score increased. If we place more diamonds in a row, your score would increase even more significantly. So that map really resembles the original game, and the difference is that I'm just using diamonds instead of spheres, because the original Lines game was just using spheres instead of diamonds. So this is my kind of innovation in here. But the more interesting innovation, you can see that right now I've got 6 games and my score would increase even more. So the original game just contained spheres instead of diamonds, and there was only one map like this one, and nothing else. So but players still like it very much, and we've got lots of especially female players in Poland who are really into this game, and they're relaxing while playing this game. So obviously lots of clones of the game have been created. They have different titles, and sometimes the logic is a little bit different, but the basic idea is the same. Alright, so my approach to this was to create, apart from just creating the standard experience of the Lines game, was to also create a story mode, which just allows you to unlock further levels and play a little bit more and discover the game, play with different on different maps. So on this map you cannot end the game. I mean, your progress bar doesn't highlight, so this level is just for beating your high score. Every other level just allows you to fill this bar, and when it's filled, then you unlock new level. So let me show you another map. Yeah, and we've got in-game menu in here. Again, you can invoke the settings window and change settings in here, and you can travel back to main menu. And this is just the confirmation window, because we have created the new high score, and it asks us whether we really want to quit. And high score increased, and we're back to main menu. So I can show you also the next level. And the original Lines game just have this one level. For this, AquaRegis has different levels, 10 maybe of them. And in here it just presents a window which tells you that this is a progress bar and you have to fill it. So we've got a gap in the middle of the map in here on this map, but you will see that the progress bar fills with liquid over time, and it's a little bit more difficult on this level because its shape is weird. So right now the progress bar filled a little bit. Alright, so for creating different levels, I've actually created a simple map editor utility using Win32 API. So I didn't have to manually insert some values in text files or something. I was using graphic editor, but I won't show you this one in this video. Also for routing diamonds on a map, I was just using Dijkstra algorithm. I was at the beginning I was not sure if I shouldn't go with a more efficient one, but it's absolutely satisfactory because, well, the maps are not that big, so even though it's the simplest routing algorithm, it works pretty well. So the game, what can I tell you more about the game? I can brag about the diamonds graphics. They were also created by me, and the UI interface, like this progress bar, was also created in Blender. Anyway, I've got some statistics because I've got readme file opened, so I can see that the whole game, oh, I cannot see that right now, the whole game, my part of the game, took up 11,000 lines of code, so it was not that simple game to create because of all this, like for example just disabling those fields, just presenting this arrow and stuff. It's not a huge code base, but it's still not a trivial one. So after developing this in my spare time during the vacation period, over 3 months, I just dumped the project, but I know for sure that it used to have one player, one female, a little bit older player who really enjoyed the game and switched from the default Lines game or some Flash clones into this one. And the idea I came up with was to port this game to the iPad, because obviously right now I'm an iOS guy, so just porting this game to an iPad is not extremely difficult because it's written in C++, so I would have to just change the graphics engine to use Cocos 2D or different iOS library or Sprite or something. So it's not that huge amount of work, but I didn't start it. I've got different projects. Okay, so thank you for watching, and hopefully I will show you other of my games. Thanks, cheers.